posting non-consensual pictures of people who are not of age, to later being publicly flagged as a concern in his local area.
Yeah.
The whole town got to hate you, bro. That's insane. You're like the town troll.
You guys know that they did a PSA about me?
Uncle Gums has become a clear example of how disturbing behavior can play out on social media. Gregory Pianka, better known online as Uncle Gums, is a man in his late 60s. While public records show that he is married and has more than one child, he often refers to himself online as single. His online presence was extremely concerning from the very beginning. He first started posting on TikTok around late 2023, and many of his videos centered around photos of people who are not of age. According to multiple accounts, he contacted some of these minors through Facebook or Snapchat before reposting their images. Sometimes images taken directly from their public profiles. But not only that, the pictures he posts are usually sexualized. Aside from posting pictures, he also roasts these kids, and usually these roasts are him rapping random words that don't even rhyme. The roasts are mostly targeted at these kids' appearances, even sometimes making explicit comments towards some girls, like this one time where he said very inappropriate things about the appearance of a girl who was not of age.
Alina's short. She's 5 foot nothing. Dark brown hair. She says she has a big old back and a nice little belly in the front. But from what I've seen, none of that is true. Her ass is flat, and she's pretty slim too.
He also has dolls that are for babies, which he brought up on a stream while cosplaying in a very disturbing manner, to the point that the person on the live stream told him that he needs to go to church.
Bro, are you good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Look, I adopted my brother too.
Hey, how old are you, bro?
44.
You're 44? Okay, you need to go to church, bro.
They won't let me in church no more.
Despite the obvious creepiness of this behavior, Uncle Gums likes to justify his actions by saying he has gotten consent from these peoples who are not of age to post their pictures, as well as to adopt them, which is a very weak argument because even if they do consent, it doesn't matter since they aren't mature enough to decide for themselves, and thus he needs to contact their parents before doing something that is clearly very creepy and disturbed. But even worse, some, if not most of these pictures, by his own admission, Uncle Gums doesn't even ask them before posting their pictures on his social media.
Some of the teenagers in these posts did not actually wish to be adopted.
This is not a one-time thing either, because he has been doing this for quite some time by creating nearly 20 different TikTok accounts alone, which eventually led to some of the parents noticing their children posted in a very creepy way online. And this naturally angered the parents, with one parent posting on his Facebook saying, "I absolutely refuse to share the Creeps videos, but take a look at Uncle Gums on TikTok. He had 2 separate videos with pictures of my son. There are a ton of Mount Carmel kids in these videos. Thankfully, he took down the videos of my son and now I am his target. That doesn't faze me, but I wanted other parents to know. Keep an eye on your kids' social media. Creeps are lurking everywhere." Many people found it very disturbing that not only was Uncle Gums posting this person's children without consent, but he was also going after the parent simply for calling him out for his disturbing behavior. But it doesn't stop here, because an entire town of parents whose children's pictures Uncle Gums posted were aware of the situation and posted on the local community news page saying, "Mount Caramel Pa. This man on TikTok is obviously very disturbed as he is posting pictures of our children in the area and talking about them in the videos. I won't go into any more detail, but you can go to the page or share your experience below, as I know many have had issues with this guy. The authorities and a local school are made aware of this man, and I think everyone else should be made aware too. Maybe mass reporting his TikTok will get it taken down, and if anyone has any other legal ideas, let us know in the comments."
So apparently this guy is posting people's kids under the age of 18 without their consent. If you go to his page, he's got videos of young girls dancing and young girls wearing clothes that are just inappropriate for their age. And if you go to Facebook, there's parents right now that are livid. And guess what? The authorities can't do anything because what he's doing is technically not wrong. But it is very creepy to post somebody's kids and show the bottom half of your face like this and bah, 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 bah. Does anybody know who this man is?
Another parent also came out on TikTok sharing her side of the story and criticizing Uncle Gums' creepy behavior. But instead of taking accountability, Uncle Gums tried to defend himself by saying the children themselves asked him to post their pictures, which, according to this parent, was an utter lie.
"I don't need you to send me anything to tell me that these kids posted you, because I know that ours didn't. That's what I've been trying to tell you. All these other kids could have told you that, but how the did you get ours is what I want to know. So I will forever go Geo forever. I will message you, and I want you to show me where our kids asked you, specifically our kids."
Then he tried to play the victim by saying that he is in fear of being assaulted because these parents talked about his actions, which is not only ridiculous, but also baffling.
I know that you added me on TikTok, but that doesn't change the facts. And I also seen that you said that you were in fear of being assaulted by something that I have done. And I want to make it very clear that nothing that I have done is ever going to get you assaulted.
Despite all these critics and parents expressing that they are not okay with him posting their children and interacting with them on his social media, Uncle Gums didn't stop doing so, which then led to people in his local area becoming so worried that they made a PSA about him, warning other people about him.
That's the
Yeah.
whole town got to hate you, bro. That's insane. You're like the town troll.
You guys know that they did a PSA about me?
Yo, what's the
I wouldn't be
PSA?
surprised.
After all these criticisms and people reporting his main TikTok account, eventually TikTok banned his account. But instead of being sad about it or even taking responsibility, for some bizarre reasons, Uncle Gums was extremely happy about it. In one of his posts, he proudly expresses how he managed to offend an entire town of parents by referring to these concerned parents as haters. I managed to offend an entire town in Mount Carmel just by making adopt me videos of people's kids that requested I do so. My original account was permanently banned from haters who even reported on innocent videos I made of animals, and even arguing back and forth with some of them on Facebook. He accused them of doing the same thing as he does. I am sure you have family posted on Facebook, or are these people not related to you? You brought it up. And then claimed to be smarter than the parents accusing him. You all sure do love to spread hate around, but sure don't like it when you're outsmarted. While there is nothing smart about his actions, Uncle Gums likes to brag about outsmarting people, who criticize him by referring to his style of content as unique and innovative. Not only that, but he also refers to his content as trolling and says he is just trolling, but people are taking this too far, when in reality there is nothing about his actions that is trolling.
Ethan, you were right. I was trolling everyone the whole time. I knew exactly what I was doing, and lots of people just went overboard.
After all this came out, lolcow commentary channels on YouTube as well as a few people on Kiwi Farm started talking about his behavior, and under most of these videos, Uncle Gums was replying to some of the comments, admitting to what he was accused of. One person said, he must have gotten some ideas from Onishin, to which he then replied saying, yes, I did actually. And for context, in case you don't know, Onishin's an infamous YouTuber who has been accused of some of the most heinous things you could think of, including underage individuals and many more allegations, to the point that even the FBI opened an investigation. And Uncle Gums admitting that he took his ideas from this sick individual is so sickening, and at the same time confirms that his online presence is not just cringe, but rather something far more serious. In addition to these disturbing remarks, he was reframing his actions as trolling the lolcow commentary community, which he is proud to talk about. He commented saying, I am your Uncle Gums. I am currently trolling the lolcow review community. So far, I am off to a fledgling start. Although Uncle Gums didn't take accountability for his actions so far, after the criticism grew bigger, he would apologize and announce his retirement from TikTok by posting this. I would like to publicly announce that I have retired my TikTok presence with adopting and roasting anyone under the age of 18. I removed all posts from all my accounts on my own, not because of the threats of others. I will still keep my username Uncle Gums, as I will be changing my content to something much more positive. I cannot change the mistakes I made, so if anyone wishes to find me and confront me in person about it, just know that I know how the law works legally. But this admission of fault didn't last long, as he would make another video presenting himself as the victim of social media hate for no appropriate reasons, and saying that people are just angry for no reason, even referring to them as having no life.
Some people on TikTok just live in a negative void. So much so that when they come home from work, TikTok is their only outlet, because most people in the real world won't tolerate their rudeness. Their only so-called circle of friends are probably only those that they work with.
Despite announcing his retirement from social media, he would only last for a few days, if not a couple of weeks, as he would return to TikTok by creating new accounts. Even though he claims that what he did was a mistake, in his retirement announcement, Uncle Gums doesn't stop his deranged behavior. If anything, he doubles down. On his new account, he posted extremely disturbed things like, if you are in school and started raising a baby as a project, send me a picture of him or her so I can sing about them, since it is not a real person, parents can't complain. Which doesn't even make sense. Who raises babies as a project in school? But Uncle Gums' behavior gets even worse, crossing from just being creepy into serious file vibes. Across his TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, Uncle Gums almost always follows accounts that are either real minors who post their own pictures, AI accounts that post younger-looking pictures, or anime-themed accounts that are mainly for children audiences. But not only does he follow them, he also interacts with them. He commented under one of these accounts a post saying, "Am I allowed to say I like this picture?" What made this so serious is that the person posting this is a literal 14 years old. But this doesn't end with comments, he also reposts some disturbing videos. In one example, he posted a video on his Facebook featuring an anime-themed character saying suggestive things, while his own picture appeared in the video staring at the character and looking visibly impressed. This kind of interaction makes his behavior even more uncomfortable, especially considering his age and the type of content he chooses to publicly associate himself with. Despite the creepiness of a man in his late 60s posting something like this, many of the accounts he interacts with also appear to be disturbed by his behavior, which in some cases even led to those users disappearing from the internet or removing their content after being featured by him. For example, one time he posted a video on his TikTok showing a picture of a girl standing in a forest who appeared to be not of age, which again raised concerns among viewers about the pattern of content he was sharing and the types of images he repeatedly chose to post, all while saying he was walking one day in a forest and found this beautiful girl.
One day I was walking through the forest and found this beautiful creature.
Which then made this girl eventually delete all of her social media accounts and disappear from the internet. Although Uncle Gums' behavior is already painting him allegedly as a predator, he would soon start making direct suggestions that raised even more suspicion of an alleged real-life interaction, an accusation that is far more serious than everything he has done so far. Under one of his Twitter posts, Uncle Gums tweeted saying, "While she does look 11, I can guarantee you 100%. She did say she was at least 500 years old." Which many people found extremely disturbing as it suggests a real-life interaction with a clearly younger individual with whom he should never interact with. But it gets worse. Uncle Gums makes multiple direct remarks suggesting that he is allegedly interested in seeing someone under the age of 18 as attractive. In one of his videos, he said that when he is on a live stream and hears somebody saying they are under the age of 18, it takes it as a riz. But this is not an isolated incident. In another video on his TikTok, he makes a very bizarre video where he while clearly showing sexual gestures with both his hands and tongue. Uncle Gums would continue making similar statements to the point that people started associating this behavior with his name. In one live stream he had with other TikTokers, one of them told him to lick him by saying he was only of 20-7 years old, to which Uncle Gums showed an explicit gesture and told him to open his camera so he could see him and lick him while watching him.
Turn on your camera so I can give you a proper kiss.
Hell no.
And in classic Uncle Gums fashion, he doesn't take any responsibility for this behavior and instead tries to justify it with the most ridiculous excuse you could imagine. At one point he said, "I might have popped into a live but never actively tried to date anyone under 18 in that live," which is a desperate attempt to reframe his actions into something less deranged by comparing it to dating people who are not of age. But the accusations against him allegedly involve something far more sinister. Fairly speaking, these are not proven, but looking at his social media posts, there is still something seriously wrong going on with him. But even worse, he then goes on to say that since he is being labeled by the internet as a predator, he might as well start acting like one.
I got thinking, if I'm already going to be labeled a predator, I might as well start acting like one.
But the Uncle Gums story only gets worse. Despite his repeated claims that he is not a predator, Uncle Gums would soon start going after well-respected predator hunters and making videos filled with extremely bizarre assumptions about them. In these videos, Uncle Gums made extremely disturbing accusations, such as suggesting that these predator hunters are actually interested in having sexual interactions with the people they expose, rather than focusing on exposing them for who they are.
This is your Uncle Gums. We are predator hunters, and we all have one fix. We're each on the hunt to see who can collect the most pictures of pigs. Although they're usually small, they all eventually add up.
He also formed a bizarre conclusion that these predator hunters usually form relationships with the people they are after, even going as far as claiming that these predator hunters are abusive in these imaginary relationships Uncle Gums himself has created. While this is a very bizarre rant, Uncle Gums states at the end of the video, "Disclaimer, everything I said is for humor. I have nothing against PDF file hunters." Despite this attempt to deny it, he actually says the exact opposite in the video.
I'm not hating on you. I'm just telling the truth.
As disturbing as his actions are one of the reasons he is doing something like this online, is because Uncle Gums is extremely desperate for any kind of attention from strangers, even if it is literal hatred or ridicule, and he does what he can to get that attention in any form available to him. He was trying to get attention in the lolcow community by interacting with infamous figures such as Chance Wilkins, better known as Cyrax. Uncle Gums has posted pictures of himself using the same pose and style as Cyrax's infamous pictures, as well as videos with the same kind of costume Cyrax uses, almost mirroring his online identity in an attempt to be noticed. He takes this even further by interacting with Cyrax on his live stream and sending him money, seemingly trying to insert himself directly into Cyrax's online space in any way possible. And not only Cyrax, but Uncle Gums also tried to get the attention of another infamous lolcow Nova online. In one of Nova's live streams, Uncle Gums was spam commenting repeatedly in an attempt to get his attention, and he then took it a bit further by buying his merch as another way to stand out. Despite these desperate attempts, however, Uncle Gums didn't get as much attention as he wanted. The people who were talking about him were only a few, mostly making fun of him by saying things like, "Uncle is always trying so hard to be a lolcow that he skipped straight to horror cow." After this catastrophic failure, even after humiliating himself online, Uncle Gums would then disappear from the internet by deleting most of his accounts for nearly a year, until he came back recently in April of 2026 on Instagram. Unlike the previous time, this time Uncle Gums' content's a little better since he doesn't directly include minors. His main content type is him jumping up and down while saying thank you to random strangers. And he is gaining traction, also getting more than 15,000 followers and hundreds of thousands of views, with a couple of videos even reaching more than 1.5 million views. And not only views, but also most of the people who follow him are completely unaware of Uncle Gums' past behaviors, which has basically helped him gain more followers and positive feedback. Despite this, however, Uncle Gums' content is still very creepy, with bizarre videos like these posted every once in a while. And he still follows some questionable accounts just like he did before. Eventually, Uncle Gums has been exposed for some of the most disturbing behaviors, and while he is gaining traction on Instagram, it would not be surprising if he becomes involved in similar behavior again, or if his audience eventually finds out what he has been accused of in his old social media life. When that happens, I will make sure to keep you all updated. Until then, let me know what you find most baffling about Uncle Gums in the comments.